Today I'm going to be giving you 7 manifestation tactics, tools, strategies, whatever you want to call them, that are going to help you in that journey. Hey, I am trying to manifest something, but I am envious of what my neighbor has. I am envious of what my sister, my brother, my whatever has. What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Walking Manifestator. I'm your host, Alexa Peña, and in today's conversation, we're going to dive deep into how to manifest. Now, this is actually something that personally has worked for me. As always, take what serves you and discard the things that you are not willing to implement. These are simply tools, techniques that have helped me in my journey, and I am hoping it will do the same for you. Now, if you stick until the end, we will be talking also about a quick bonus tip for you that is going to really help you in that manifestation journey, which is going to tie into your pineal gland. So with that being said, let's dive deep. Now, today I'm going to be giving you 7 manifestation tactics, tools, strategies, whatever you want to call them, that are going to help you in that journey. I've actually been asked quite a few times, like, hey Alexa, what is something you recommend to manifest? Like, I'm looking to manifest more abundance. I'm looking to manifest, a better job, a house. There's a lot of different perspectives. And the one thing I'm going to tell you right now that has really helped me, before we get into all the tips, is to just understand to embrace the moment in which you are in. Let me repeat that. Embrace the moment in which you are in. The reason I say this is because you cannot create from a lack mentality. It doesn't work, right? It's its polar opposite. So when you are thinking of creating and you being a creator and somebody that is looking to manifest something, it logically makes no sense that you are saying, hey, I am trying to manifest something, but I am envious of what my neighbor has. I am envious of what my sister, my brother, my whatever has. You have to embrace the journey, and embracing the journey means embracing the moment in which you are currently. So the first thing that I want to share in terms of the actual strategies is going to be first being your thought. Now, when it comes to your thought, this is something that personally is going to require, like anything else, practice, right? You can't expect to learn how to walk the first time that your parents helped you, or you decided to start giving your first little steps. And if anybody would have given up on you and would have just said oh no, this kid keeps falling down, you wouldn't be walking right now, right? So I use that analogy to remind you of the fact that it is going to require practice, but all great things that are worth it sometimes take a little bit of energy, and that's okay. Now, when I say thought, I'm gonna give you an example. So for the longest time, I personally struggled with a lot of feelings of lack. I've shared this with you guys before, but essentially not having parents, not having a lot of the financial things that people obviously look at as abundance or whatever you might call it. I grew up in a scarcity and lack mentality. Therefore, when I would read books geared around just practice wishful thinking, I'd be like, what do you mean? How do you want me to think a better thought if what I have right now is all I see? And this is the part where for me, it just took really wanting to change. And I think that if you're watching this right now, there's something within you that is already calling that into your awareness, because I do strongly believe that everything is energy. Therefore, you need to be at a certain vibration in order to attract certain opportunities and to attract certain information that might benefit you in that part of your journey. So when we talk about being vulnerable enough to actually continue to repeat the thought to yourself, whether it's I am happy, I am thankful for all the abundance I have. I am thankful for the opportunities. Even though I've gone through these things, I'm thankful for the fact that I went through them, right? That I'm going through them and I'm actually seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. And just repeating that to yourself is really one of the things that personally, when it comes to the thought aspect of things, even if the thoughts that you have right now aren't necessarily happy thoughts, it doesn't mean that's where they have to stay. So defining your desired outcome for me when it comes to a thought that I'm having, maybe it's, I want to get Walking Manifestator podcast to, let's say 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to give an example. And if I get consumed by the 1,000 subscribers, I'm not going to focus on everything that I do have, which shout out to you guys that have been subscribing and following. But literally within a few weeks, we've actually reached almost 600 subscribers. But I remember when I first started, it was like 10 subscribers. And I was just so set on the fact that I knew it was gonna benefit the people that were willing to want to build a community with me and share insights and share thoughts with one another. So I was more consumed and placing more energy into the what I have versus the what I wanted. That is the number one thing, that when you are manifesting something, when you are creating something, you need to really focus on what you have so that you can create from a place of abundance. Now, I will say this, abundance does not necessarily have to mean the same thing for everybody, okay? I've had a lot of people say like, oh, well, abundance to me isn't monetary. Abundance to me is more about spending more time with my family. Abundance to me is about, being able to eat healthier foods and afford those healthier foods, whatever that abundance means to you. One thing that I will share with you that personally I also had to grow into was learning to adopt a different mindset, because for the longest time I associated rich people with evil. And what I mean by that is, because of the fact that I didn't have that, I saw the people that had it as, oh, everything must come so effortlessly for you. Like, oh, that must be nice. That's not me. So if you think about the energy, right? If we've talked about the law of vibration, the law of one, you are going to be in harmony to that you are reflecting. So if I am constantly thinking that all rich people are evil and conniving, that is simply going to attract that into my energy. So when we talk about being very clear, now for me, when it comes to the abundance, I see money as a tool. When I think about what I'm going to do with the money versus the actual zero in the bank account, I see that the energy flows a lot more effortlessly, because I'm seeing the end goal being, who am I going to impact with this tool? What am I going to be able to do for my legacy? What am I going to be able to do to leave something for my boys? What am I going to be able to do to give back to a charitable cause? Whatever it might be, now it's more married to the idea of what that tool is going to allow me to benefit others with, and also at the same time benefit myself with. But it's not necessarily focusing on the energy behind, I want more money, okay? So take that again as you will, but I feel like that is something that when it came to defining the thought, I started really focusing on like, I'm so thankful on everything that I do have, and I set a clear intention on what I wanted, and therefore because I was so consumed by what I had, I wasn't focusing on what I didn't, therefore I was vibrating or allowing myself to gradually vibrate at the frequency of what I am looking to attract, okay? So I hope that's making sense. Now, number 2 is going to be the emotion. And here's something that I'm gonna put out there. I used to be the type of person that when somebody would talk about, like, again, think happy thoughts, I'd be like, how in the world do you want me to think of something positive right now if what I'm going through is nothing but negativity? Like, you make no sense. And I laugh now because it's funny. Think about this. And we talked briefly about it in our last episode, but I really want to dive deep into it this episode, being, if I ask you right now, think about the most profound sad moment that you can think about. Like that moment in which you were abandoned as a child, that moment in which you created a codependency issue, that moment in which you created a substance issue, that moment in which whatever. If that energy is that grand to the point where you can recall it in such rich imagery and bring that into your awareness to the point where you will literally be able to cry, okay? I want to ask you, How come you're able to bring that emotion to such a degree, to such a vivid image in your head, but yet it's not happening anymore? And you might say, well, yeah, it's not happening anymore, but I went through it. Yeah, but you're still able to bring that energy to the point where your brain, and this has been studied, okay? This is not pseudoscience. This is actually scientific based information at this point, that it shows that our brain, we have two parts of it, the subconscious and the actual conscious, right? The conscious part of our brain. And if we really dissect it, your subconscious does not know to distinguish between what is actually happening and what isn't happening. And I want you to really unpack that for a second. That means that in that moment in which you are bringing that energy to such a degree in which you're now allowing yourself to relive the past, you are conditioning yourself to essentially make your brain, your energy, believe that you are going through that all over again. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because when we talk about emotions, and I know a lot of the times people have said, well, like, how can you allow that thought to be something that you're actually so happy about, but yet it has never happened? But what would it feel like if it did? And this is where we have to use our tools. What would it smell like, that moment in which you were able to provide that beautiful house to your kids? What would it smell like to be able to walk to your backyard and smell the fresh grass? What would it look like to see that beautiful, grand, beautiful white house? I just made a post on my Facebook account, and I was talking about how essentially 3 years ago, and my social media accounts are linked down below if you guys want to go check that out. But essentially 3 years ago, I had seen a house with a client. It was a beautiful house. It was a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, beautiful house. And at that point, when I walked through the house, all I could remember looking back now at it is that I was walking through the hallway and just picturing myself in that house with my family. For those of you that know, I take care of my grandparents. So you might say, why would you want such a big house with just 2 kids, Alexa? Well, because I take care of them, so they live with me. Therefore, I wanted to give them their own space. And when I was walking through that house, I just pictured everything so perfect, because it was like 4 bedrooms upstairs, and then it was like an extra bedroom downstairs where they'd be able to have their own bathroom. And I was just picturing everything. I was picturing us in the kitchen. I was picturing us making food. And ironically, I let go of that thought. I didn't think about it for a while, until literally in February of last year, I closed on the newest floor plan of that house. And when I had the little, those little flashbacks that your phone shows you, whether it's like on your phone or on your camera roll or on like Snapchat, and it was a memory that Facebook was showing me saying 3 years ago. And I remember literally now going back at that moment, I wrote in this house, in the post, I was like, this is such a beautiful house. If you're interested, give me a call. Would love to schedule a tour for you. And that same house is the house that I ended up purchasing. And I just think that is part of the reason why I say the emotion is such a huge factor in your manifestation, because it doesn't matter. Like, I hadn't purchased that house. I could argue with you all day and sit here like I hadn't purchased the house. So for those of you that are saying like it's impossible for you to picture something before it happens, it's possible. But remember, what you think is what you will perceive. So if you believe you can't make it happen, then you won't make it happen. If you believe you can make it happen, then you will make it happen. You are a creator. You're either going to create for positivity or you're going to create negativity. The choice is yours. So just ask yourself, what would it feel like to be able to marry that thought? I had this comment on one of our videos, and I shout out if you're watching this video, but the person was asking me a little bit about what I recommend in terms of if they're manifesting like a house that they want to buy for the little one, they're going through some situation. And we were telling them like, one of the things that I would recommend you do is like purchase some of the things, like if you already have that house. But this is the part where you need to embrace that emotion and not only buy the thing, but act as if you already have the thing, right? Buy the thing as in like if you're buying, some sheets for the house, but actually now picturing yourself using those sheets in the house, you know, using those nice pots that you just bought, whatever it is, okay? Now, number 3, and this is one of my personal favorites because I feel like a lot of gurus out there, let's not even call them gurus, let's just call them people, because that's what we are. We're people that are learning and that are trying to share the knowledge that we've learned because we want to pay it forward, and we just hope to continue to learn from other amazing souls. So the people that are out there talking about manifestations, a lot of them, they will say things such as, well, when you are, you know, in your room sitting meditating and you're just, you know, in this energy, you're able to attract everything into your life. I saw this video on TikTok a few days, maybe about a month ago, where a girl was literally saying, like, if you say these 3 affirmations, I promise you will see $10,000 in your bank account. And I kind of like, it didn't upset me, but it just made me realize how there is a lot of people that believe that if you just sit there until you turn blue and hope for things to magically happen, they're gonna happen. And I'm here to tell you that's not how it works. There is a law that talks about giving and receiving. You can't expect to receive if you are not willing to give. Write that down. How can you expect the universe to align you with that desired outcome if you're not taking inspired action? Inspired action is something that is driven from your higher self. So when we talk about what exactly your thought was, what your emotion was, and now we're talking about your inspired action, how would it feel like for you to say, okay, if I was this person with this job that I want, right? If I was this person with the car that I want, if I was this person with the soulmate that I want, how would I act? How would I act from that state of already having? You see, a lot of people want to create, again, from lack. A lot of people think that by becoming, let's say, you know, bringing some partner into their life, they're going to be happy all of a sudden. But no, you cannot be fulfilled until you are fully fulfilled within yourself. Okay? So when we talk about taking inspired action, it's like, how would I show up as that best version of myself? If I want to be that person that has that job, dress like that person that has that job. And don't tell me things along the lines of I can't afford it, because I promise you that when you have the clear intention, even going to like a thrift store, you can find beautiful things that you can make work, okay? I know all about that. When I was younger, I remember there was this place called Plato's Closet. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore, but I would buy stuff there and I would make it look nice, and literally you could buy a shirt for like $2. So you can make it happen, okay? And when you act from that energy, the universe is now giving you those stepping stones for it to actually align with that emotion and with that thought that you are now bringing into your energy, okay? Now, number 4 is journaling. Journaling is one of my favorite, but I do want to tell you, and this is just me, okay? I feel like journaling, people make it like this, like you have to do it. If not, it will not happen for you. And journaling has certainly helped me, but I think it helps me more from the standpoint of I like to look back a few years after that's happened, that I journaled, and then look back and be like, oh my God, do you remember? Like, I was looking at one of my old diaries. I didn't even know at this time I was already journaling. It was when I was 8, and that's when like everything kind of happened with like my parents and, you know, me not seeing my mom anymore. And I remember writing on that journal that all I wanted was to have a house. Like all I wanted was to have a house and to be able to live happy with my grandparents. Fast forward to now, I'm 27 years old. I have my, you know, my real estate, and I'm growing, and I'm very, very thankful and very, very blessed. But I know that at that time, journaling wasn't something that I was like, oh, I'm gonna sit here and write 20 times a day. I am so thankful for this new house that I bought. That's not what I was doing. Now, I will tell you this, if it helps you in solidifying that so that you're able to repeat it as you're going through your day, then definitely do it every single day. But for me, it's more of when I feel like it's the right time. Like when I came back from Paris, I was looking at all my notes, and every single day I journaled because I didn't want to forget nothing. Like I didn't want to forget the moment in which I went to the first, you know, to eat my first croissant over there. I didn't want to forget about the moment in which I was eating at a certain restaurant. Like I wanted to remember as much as possible, because I have this thing where I can literally recite you things from like years ago, but then I can't really share with you and remember at such a degree, like things that I just did last week. And when that happens, it's like, I want to be able to have something tangible to look back at. So for me, that journaling helps me in that aspect. And I definitely think that if you can also start including things such as, I am so grateful and thankful for the fact that I already have all of this, and then write down what it feels like, what you're wearing, what you're sensing, what you're smelling, it does help you because it creates a mind movie in your head. So for me now, I've gotten into the practice, the habit of just constantly telling myself, even when I'm in traffic, I'm just like, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that I am blessed with all this, opportunity to have a car. And I go on my little tangent. And I know that some people that are reflecting, because we act as mirrors. So maybe somebody watching is going to be like, BS, like you do not do that. That's maybe something that you're not willing to do. But I'm just wholeheartedly telling you, this is something that I've done that has helped me in my journey, and I'm hoping it can help you in yours, okay? Now, number 5 is going to be visualize. And this kind of goes tied into the journaling. But what I like to do with visualizing, because for me, it was something that I really struggled with for a while. Like I would kind of close my eyes and try and visualize something. It was like pitch black. So I started incorporating new techniques geared around mind movies. For those of you that are interested in a PDF, I have like this little PDF that I created where I walk you through how to create your own mind movie. So I will have a link down below so that you can go ahead and download that. I'll be more than happy to send that over to you. We're also going to have the PDF in our Walking Manifestator Mindset Development group on Facebook. So I'll also insert the link down below. But essentially, it's a mind movie that you create with images and audio to help you remember and really anchor in those images in your head. So I have a mind movie, and I'll try and insert like a little clip for you guys where it starts with a kaleidoscope, and then it kind of moves into like the beach scenes, and then it kind of moves into like Paris, and then it moves into like me like seeing people that I'm helping and giving back to. So it kind of goes through like these little slides, and I use this to remind myself of what I'm creating. So when I get in this like moment of like, oh my gosh, like I'm allowing myself to get consumed by the what I don't have, I go back in my mind movie and I just remember of everything that I do have that I just still don't see in my 3D reality. And if you know, we've talked about this in the past, but there are certain types of realities. We're essentially in the most dense reality, which is the 3D right now, which is everything that is matter. But if you study everything under like a microscope and you actually see the table that is right before you or whatever you have in front of you, to the molecule, it's not actually matter, okay? It's energy. So when we can start really creating from that 5th dimension, being the things that we don't still see, but that we're able to bring. And we talked about this in one of our books, one of our last, sorry, I was thinking about the book. Oh, by the way, I will also insert the link because by the 20th of August, we're gonna have the release to a book that I collaborated with. So I'm super excited about that. Side note, but back to that point, visualize to materialize. We talked about it, right? We talked about how when you can actually create that energy in order for you to already know that everything is already happening, then you can really create from a place of abundance and not a place of lack. Now, number 6 is going to be improve yourself. And this is going to be something that I personally like to call investing in myself. Investing in myself, the way that I've done it throughout the years is honestly just sitting down and reading, or if I purchased a coaching program, actually doing it, sitting down and being within my thoughts. But investing in yourself is something that I cannot bring up in your manifestation journey because you are going to be compensated in direct correlation with the value that you perceive of yourself. Let me elaborate. If you don't think that you are worthy enough to receive that promotion, you're not going to receive that promotion no matter how much you visualize, no matter how much you think it's already yours, no matter how much thought and emotion you put into it. It's just not going to happen because you, at the very core, don't actually believe you're worthy of it. So what I like to do to counter that is to really invest in myself. So when I talk to you guys about things such as, manifestations, I like to talk from things that I've already implemented that have worked for me, which gives me that ability to talk to you guys here without any script. right? Like I literally have my bullet points and I talk about my bullet points, but there's nothing that I have to go back and kind of like, oh, what is a manifestation? Because I'm talking to you guys like from my personal knowledge, from my personal experiences. So investing in yourself allows you to have the ability to say, you know what, I know this material, I believe in myself, and going out there and being vulnerable enough to actually show up. And it doesn't matter what people think. And I know this is something that honestly so many people are going to have different emotions about, because we are human, and as long as we are human, we're going to have this certain level of, you know, we don't want to call it embarrassment, but I guess to a certain degree of being ridiculed, right? Of somebody laughing and somebody thinking that, you know, oh, how could you have said that? But honestly, the more that you believe in what you believe in, the more conviction that you have in the things that you know wholeheartedly are for the betterment of yourself, you will not care about what other people think, and you are going to fully dedicate yourself to continuing to invest in yourself. When I stopped drinking, I know a lot of people looked at it as very weird, and now ironically a lot of people kind of like ask me like, oh, well, did you have like a drinking problem? Is that why you stopped drinking? And I'm like, I just laugh. I'm like, no, I just, you know, decided to stop drinking. It wasn't something that I personally felt was something that I was aligning with anymore, and I just decided not to do it. But hey, I'm not judging you. If you're doing it, then that's perfectly fine. I just don't want you to, you know, force me to now feel like I need to fit in with what you're looking to do. So just being vulnerable enough to say, this is where I am, this is what I am currently investing myself with, this is what I'm currently understanding, this is what I am trying to just better understand in terms of where I can actually recognize where I need improvement, is such a important part of your manifestation journey, because then you can come from a place of I know versus a place of I hope. And the last one for you today is going to be unwavering faith. This has got to be my personal, I guess I've said a lot of it, all of these are my favorite, okay, but this one just hits a little different. But unwavering faith, basically, I'm going to read you a quick quote that says, the energy of the mind is the essence of life. This is by Aristotle. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up to you is because you have to understand the beautiful power that you have within you. That's it. We have been conditioned by society for many years to believe that we need something external, to believe that we need a church, to believe that we need to worship something external from us. But in reality, you don't need a church to tell you that you can be connected to God. You have that within yourself. You have the ability to be a creator, because if I took a piece of this fabric and I removed it, the fabric, the very essence of the fabric is still the shirt. It's still part of the whole. And that is exactly what I believe we are all. We are all part of God, of the universe, of this innate intelligence that is through us all. And you need to just understand that you need to go from a place of, I know it's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen in the moment in which it's supposed to happen. And if it doesn't happen the way that I would hope it happens, I have faith that it's gonna happen in the way that it's supposed to happen. With that being said, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Walking Manifestator. I thank you for all of your continued support. I am just overjoyed with all the support that we continue to get. As always, if you have any questions or anything that you would like for us to cover on one of our next episodes, let us know. My goal for this podcast is to continue to inspire more people of the true power that you already have within yourself, and develop one another as we continue to grow this community. Hopefully in the near future, we can actually have some amazing guests who also have some higher conversations and just interact with other people. But until then, I want to thank you again, and I will talk to you on the next one.